welcome. You're watching Times Now. I'm Meenakshi Upreti. Our top focus is the Modi-Trump Milan. All eyes obviously on that meeting, which is going to take place today. The stage is set for that meeting. The Prime Minister Modi, is already in the US. Trump has also issued a statement on a plethora of global issues. We'll be talking about all of this and more. But first up, today's headlines. The stage is all set for the Modi-Trump handshake. Prime Minister Modi arrives in the US for a two-day visit. Stay tuned for the latest with Times Now. We are leading the coverage of the Prime Minister's US visit. Prime Minister Modi meets Tulsi Gabbard a day after she has been appointed as the US Intel Chief. Prime Minister also congratulated the new US Intel Chief. From trade to tariff to immigration and what's not there, a lot on agenda. It's an action-packed day ahead of the Prime Minister's visit. He's going to be holding key bilaterals with Donald Trump. Ahead of the Prime Minister's visit, Trump dials Putin and Zelensky while emphasizing on opportunities to achieve peace in the war. Tommy session expected in the Parliament as the Waqf JPC report is all set to be tabled in the Lok Sabha. Meanwhile, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will introduce a new income tax bill in the Parliament. The bill aims to replace six-decade-old Income Tax Act of 1961. Telangana government decides to conduct one more round of the caste survey after the opposition accuses the state government of discrepancies in the numbers in recently conducted caste survey. And responding for the first time on Ranbir Alabadia comments and the controversy around it, India's Got Talent host Samay Raina has now said that it's too much for him to handle and he's deleted all the episodes of his show from YouTube. All right, viewers, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in the United States of America, his first visit to America under Trump's second tenure. This is an official working visit of the Prime Minister to the United States that comes at the invitation of President Donald Trump. Prime Minister Modi is amongst the first few world leaders to visit the United States for a meeting with the President Trump. The US has extended an invitation to him just weeks into Trump's second tenure, demonstrating the kind of importance the US attaches to India. During the two-day visit, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to have an action-packed schedule. The Prime Minister will hold bilateral meetings with President Trump, also likely to engage with business leaders and interact with members of the Indian community. In fact, talking about the Prime Minister and how he was welcomed, you see those visuals. He received a rousing welcome. There were multiple, obviously, the diaspora who had lined up in large numbers, and we are showing you the visual also of the Prime Minister landing. We have the post which has been put out by the Prime Minister himself. Also, viewers, take a look at what the Prime Minister had to say after he landed in the US. He said, landed in Washington, D.C. a short while ago. We are looking forward to meeting POTUS, that's Donald Trump, and building upon the India-US comprehensive global strategic partnership. Our nations will keep working closely for the benefit of our people and also for a better future on our planet at the rate the real Donald Trump. So that is what the Prime Minister had to say after he reached, the US. And obviously, he also spoke about how the diaspora had welcomed him. They battled the cold weather. He said, despite the cold weather, the diaspora in Washington, D.C. has given a very special welcome, and the Prime Minister expresses his gratitude to them as well.
I was so happy. मोदी जी ने इतने भीड़ में इतने देख के हमें पूछा कि अरे आप हमारे लिए इतना कष्ट क्यों उठा रहे हैं. That means a lot. I mean, मोदी जी इतना हमारे लिए कर रहे हैं. This is the least we could do. हमने 4 घंटे से एक पैर पे खड़े रह के तब किया है मोदी जी को थैंक यू बोलने को. And once again, thank you मोदी जी.
And जब हमने कहा thank you मोदी जी for everything we do, he was thanking us instead for staying here in this cold. इतना अच्छा लगा उनसे मिलने. This kind of humility is so touching. It's so commendable.
मोदी जी को मिलकर बहुत अच्छा लगा. It is fantastic. We really enjoy meeting him, and what Modi ji is doing for a country is great. And globally, I think he's doing fantastic. All for humanitarian grounds. He's great person.
यूएस के आंगन में आए हैं आदरणीय मेहमान, आपका हम करते सम्मान, आपका हम करते सम्मान। हर्षित है मन आप पधारे, जाग उठे हैं भाग्य हमारे। जनता के सच्चे सेवक है जननी के अभिमान, आपका हम करते सम्मान, आपका हम करते सम्मान।
Viewers, as we were telling you, the Prime Minister is on a two-day visit to the US. He has also met Tulsi Gabbard. The Prime Minister met the new US Intel Chief. The Prime Minister also congratulated Tulsi Gabbard. We have those visuals also of that meeting, a rousing welcome for the Prime Minister. Meet with Tulsi Gabbard. It's going to be an action-packed day. The stage is set for that upcoming meeting. The meeting also is very, very significant. We have, of course, those visuals also of this meeting. The Prime Minister meeting Tulsi Gabbard. It's a very, very significant meeting. And we have the visuals of that handshake, that meeting as well. Obviously, all eyes are going to be on the first meeting of the Prime Minister Modi and Trump in Trump 2.0 and also obviously in Washington, D.C. The Prime Minister also spoke out on the same. He said that he met the U.S. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, in Washington, D.C., congratulated her on the confirmation and discussed various aspects of the India-U.S. friendship, of which she's always been a strong votary. So that's what the Prime Minister had to say on his meeting with Tulsi Gabbard. It was a very significant meeting, as we were telling you, viewers, obviously talking about, the defense and energy cooperation and many other aspects which are going to be discussed. There's going to be a plethora of issues which we are going to be looking at. Let's take a look at, the significance of the meeting, why this particular meeting matters. First of all, what's going to be to watch out for: the defense and energy cooperation. India is looking to increasing purchasing of defense equipments from the US. India is also in the process of acquiring 31 drones from the US. Also talking about the defense and energy cooperation, the discussion is expected on cooperation on nuclear energy as well. The China question, possible focus could be on counterbalancing China in the Indo-Pacific. We also have, the trade and tariff, which is going to be very, very significant because Trump has time and again spoken about imposing reciprocal tariffs. He's also said that he could increase tariffs on multiple items. India has obviously reduced tariff on key US imports in a balancing of relationship. So trade and tariff is going to be very, very significant. Immigration, H-1B visas, that's going to be very significant. That had led to a lot of politics back home as well. US recently, remember, viewers, deported over 100 undocumented Indians who they claimed were illegal immigrants. They recently, after they deported them, India obviously is also expected to advocate for expanding the H-1B visa. So these are going to be extremely significant issues. We have obviously some breaking news also coming in, viewers. This is all happening in the backdrop of the Prime Minister being in the US. So breaking news coming in. Let's take a look at that breaking news. So for the first time, after holding office, the US President Trump dialed Russian counterpart, that is Putin. That's very, very significant. He spoke to Putin. Trump dialed Zelensky as well. So this is obviously, a big move by Trump. Trump says, as far as this particular call is concerned, again, as we were telling you, this is very significant because it's after after taking office, it's the first time that Trump has dialed his Russian counterpart. Trump and Putin discussed the Russia-Ukraine war, Middle East energy, AI, many other issues also discussed. Trump also dialed Zelensky. So this is, very significant. Listen to what, the reactions coming in, which we have at the moment.
We're going to meet also probably in Saudi Arabia, but we want to end that war. That war is a disaster. It's a really bloody, horrible war. Because if we didn't do that, then Putin would say he won. We're the thing that's holding it back. And frankly, we'll go as long as we have to go, because we're not going to let the other happen. But President Putin wants to have peace now, and that's good. And he didn't want to have peace with Biden.
All right, so this call very significant because for the first time after holding office, the US President Donald Trump dialed his Russian counterpart. He spoke to Putin. They discussed Russia and Ukraine war. What's very significant is the fact that Trump also, ended up speaking to Zelensky. This is very significant. The call which we are speaking of, the discussion which took place, Trump and Putin, they discussed the Russia-Ukraine war. Middle East also was discussed, energy, AI and many other issues discussed. Very significant. Trump also urging Putin to end the war. That's very, very significant. Listen in once again to what Trump had to say.
We're going to meet also probably in Saudi Arabia the first time. We'll meet in Saudi Arabia, see if we can get something done. But we want to end that war. That war is a disaster. It's a really bloody, horrible war. Because if we didn't do that, then Putin would say he won. We're the thing that's holding it back. And frankly, we'll go as long as we have to go because we're not going to let the other happen. But President Putin wants to have peace now, and that's good. And he didn't want to have peace with Biden.
All right, Trump